and the Richard Dawkins Foundation, who are in the process of merging together. How we're involved in the Reason Rally is we have a huge display, as you can see over here, highlighting some celebrity faces who support our values and who even support our specific organizations. We're giving out stickers, buttons, we have a prize wheel with some sunglasses, keychains. If you spin a star twice, you get a signed Dawkins book, some informational things, rally posters. There's some really cool rally posters, like the ones that Jim from CFI LA is holding behind there. He's holding one from Openly Secular, so people can represent that they're openly secular at the rally. So we're having a good time. We have a lot of stuff going on here, and go Reason Rally.
Unfriendly Persuasion. The singer, lobbyist, and irony-impaired demagogue known to the world as Pat Boone recently appeared in an interview with milquetoast pseudo-liberal Alan Colmes to vent his ire with NBC's Saturday Night Live after the sketch comedy program aired a parody of the God Is Not Dead films in which a Mississippi baker refuses to make a cake for a gay wedding and is sued by a court which insists that she acknowledge that God is gay. Said Boone, there should be regulations that prohibit blasphemy. He also argued that 90% of the American public agrees with his position, a number unsupported by any known polling. But apparently, bearing false witness is acceptable when one is attempting to spare the fragile ego of a deity. Of course, there are laws against this kind of blasphemy already on the books in countries like Egypt and Saudi Arabia, and Boone is more than welcome to go write love letters to God in the sand, or just pound sand till his heart's content in those beacons of democracy. Chit Storm. For the past decade and a half, Scientology, under the leadership of David Miscavige, has been suffering a bit of a public relations catastrophe. In an effort to present the appearance that membership was actually blooming, rather than waning, as was actually the case, the church began a program called Ideal Orgs, in which well-to-do members were sent out to buy up prominent historical buildings on behalf of the church in such cities as Chicago, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Detroit, and Montreal. The plan was to refurbish these structures as part of a public relations drive, which would, they hoped, help increase membership in those cities. However, the plan stalled, and the buildings in the U.S. locations still remain mostly untouched, and they continue to deteriorate. There is little the city governments in the U.S. can do, as the religious status of the owners means the city has no tax levies with which they can apply pressure. However, this is not the case in Montreal, where religious properties are not tax-exempt if they are unoccupied. According to a report on Radio Canada, the Scientologists now owe $90,000 on their building on St. Catherine Street, and the city is calling in their chit. A partial payment of $14,000 was made. However, if the city is not satisfied soon, the property may be seized and placed on the auction block. Scopes, cope, nope. In mid-2011, the National Research Council published a 400-page document assembled by a large team of experts proposing a modern framework for science education in public schools. Later that year, a consortium of 26 states joined the creators of the framework to develop a set of standards to implement it. The result was the NGSS, the next generation of science standards. In mid-2013, the Kansas Board of Education adopted the NGSS. Not long afterward, a group called Citizens for Objective Public Education, or COPE, sued the board on the grounds that teaching evolutionary theory promotes a religious worldview. Cope asserts that NGSS presents an orthodoxy and uses deceptive methods to mislead even kindergartners to seek only materialistic and atheistic answers. The U.S. District Court in Kansas dismissed the suit in 2013. Cope believes that without the dogma of a magical man creating the cosmos, children will be propelled into disbelief, which they equate with a rival religion, which is why it decided to appeal the court decision. Teaching science without a religious explanation for the universe is itself religious indoctrination. Sadly, for those who can't cope with science, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in Denver upheld the rejection from a lower court on the grounds that Cope cannot show that they, nor the children of Kansas, are being or have been injured by teaching good science. A potential threat to Christianity or any other religion that might occur in the future is not within the court's jurisdiction. Americans United for the Separation of Church and State predicts that the Kansas Cope citizens who can't cope with science are driven by fear that accurate science will manipulate children into rejecting Jesus Christ, in which case they are free to send their children to science-free religious schools, but not to dumb down every other child's education, according to Americans United. Cope has no facts to show that any group or religion is presently injured, so standing is denied. I guess sitting is okay, because scientific facts have a well-known atheist bias. Although this is Kansas' third major science versus superstition battle over the last 2 decades, it is the first to be settled judiciously. In 1999, the Republican-dominated board deleted from school curricula most references to the evolutionary and Big Bang theories. 2 years later, after citizens changed the board's composition, both theories were reinserted. In 2005, the again Republican-dominated board redefined science to make room for theological explanations. In 2007, the original definition was restored.